My sister falsely accused me of SA, now my family is reaching out after 7 years. What do I do? 7 years ago, my life was turned upside down. My younger sister, now 25, accused me, now 32, of sexual assault. The accusation was completely false, but that didn't stop it from destroying my relationships and isolating me from my entire family. To give a little background, my sister and I used to be close growing up, but things changed after she started hanging out with a new group of friends in her late teens. Around that time, she became distant and started having issues with everyone in the family, but I never thought something like this would happen. One night, out of nowhere, she accused me of assaulting her. I was blindsided. There was no basis for it, nothing even remotely suggestive of it. She didn't go to the police, but she told my parents, who believed her without question. My family cut all contact with me immediately. My parents stopped answering my calls, and even my other siblings refused to talk to me. I tried to defend myself, but it was like speaking into the void. I couldn't even comprehend why she made up such a lie, and no one cared to listen to my side of the story. I ended up moving away, completely starting over. It was the darkest period of my life. I lost my job shortly after everything blew up because I was too distracted and mentally wrecked to focus. I had to find new work in a different city, new friends, and basically rebuild my entire life from scratch. Therapy helped, but even after all these years, it's still a wound that hasn't fully healed. I've never been able to shake off the feeling of betrayal by my own family. Then, out of nowhere, 2 days ago, I get a message on Facebook from my mother. She said they want to reconnect and that a lot has changed. She didn't go into details, but she said that my sister has been dealing with some mental health issues and regrets a lot of the things she did in the past. She didn't directly mention the false accusation, but she implied it. Since then, I've also received messages from my father and one of my brothers, all saying they miss me and want to talk. Part of me is angry. Angry that it took them this long to reach out, that they didn't believe me back then when I needed them the most. But another part of me wants to reconnect. Despite everything, they're still my family, and I've missed them, especially my mom. But I'm also scared. I don't know if I can trust them, or if I can ever truly forgive my sister for what she did. I don't know why they're reaching out now or what they expect from me. Do I give them a chance? Do I hear them out? I've spent years trying to heal, and I'm not sure if reopening this chapter of my life is the right move. Any advice would be appreciated. After getting those messages from my family, I spent hours just staring at my phone, trying to process everything. It felt surreal, like after all these years of silence, they suddenly decided it was time to reconnect, as if nothing ever happened. I couldn't help but wonder why now. What changed? I didn't respond right away. I needed time to think. My therapist has always said that I should prioritize my own mental health and set boundaries, and this situation was pushing those boundaries to their limit. I knew that if I did decide to open the door to them again, it wouldn't be an easy road. A day later, I got another message from my father, asking if I could just hear them out. He said they had made mistakes but that they wanted to fix things. That was the first time I'd ever heard my father admit to being wrong, and it shook me. Growing up, he was always the strong, stubborn type, rarely admitting fault, especially when it came to family matters. Then, there was my sister. The one person I hadn't heard from directly. Part of me wanted her to be the one to reach out, to apologize and explain why she did what she did. Another part of me didn't want to hear from her at all. I don't know if I could handle hearing her voice again, or if I could even trust whatever she had to say after what she put me through. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the past, those first few days when the accusations came out, the arguments, the looks from my parents, and the deafening silence from my siblings. I'd gone over it in my head a million times, trying to figure out why she would accuse me of something so terrible. Did she really believe it? Was it some twisted attempt at attention? Did she ever regret it? I woke up the next morning with an overwhelming sense of dread but decided that I couldn't keep running from this. I needed answers, closure, something. So, I sent a single message to my mom: I'm willing to talk. But I need to know what's changed and why you're reaching out now. It didn't take long for her to reply. She said my sister had been in therapy for a while and that a lot had come out about her struggles with mental health, including some trauma she'd experienced outside of the family. My mom said she didn't want to get into details over text, but that my sister had been carrying guilt for years about what she did to me and had been working through it in therapy. She wanted to apologize. I didn't know what to say. Apologies felt like too little, too late. But at the same time, if my sister was finally confronting her own demons, could that be enough to start healing the wound she left? Could I accept an apology after all these years of silence and pain? I agreed to meet. Not with my sister, at least, not yet, but with my parents. We arranged to meet at a neutral location, a cafe a couple of towns over from where I now live. I wanted some distance, just in case things went sideways. The morning of the meeting, my anxiety was through the roof. I hadn't seen my parents in person since the accusation, and part of me worried that they'd still somehow justify what they did, that they'd try to downplay the damage. But when I walked into that cafe and saw them, they looked different, older, worn out, like the weight of everything had finally caught up to them. The conversation was awkward at first. My mom cried the moment she saw me, and my dad was unusually quiet. It took them a while to start talking, and when they did, it wasn't easy. My mom admitted that they had failed me, that they had been too quick to believe my sister and too afraid to question her. She said they were scared of losing her and didn't realize they were losing me in the process. My dad said that in hindsight, he regretted not giving me the benefit of the doubt. He admitted that he had always been protective of my sister because she was the youngest and because of her mental health struggles. He didn't offer excuses, just that he was sorry. Then came the hard part: my sister. My mom asked if I'd be willing to speak to her. She said my sister was scared to reach out herself because she didn't know how I would react. That's when my anger came bubbling up again. She's scared. What about what she did to me? I didn't say it out loud, but my frustration was clear. I told them I wasn't sure if I could ever forgive her, and that while I appreciated the apology, I wasn't ready to just let things go. I needed time. They understood and said they'd be patient, and that they were ready to support me however I needed. We ended the meeting on a tentative note. They wanted to reconnect, and I said I'd think about it. I didn't make any promises, but I felt a small sense of relief, like the first step towards something, maybe not reconciliation, but closure. As for my sister, I'm still not sure if I'm ready to hear from her. I know she's going through her own journey, but I don't know if I can be part of that process yet. I still have my own healing to do. It's strange. After 7 years of silence, the door to my past is slowly creaking open, and I'm not sure what to do with it. But I do know one thing: I'm finally in control of how this chapter of my life unfolds.